How are you tonight? Oh, I just minimized you. Can you hear
Right
me
here.
now? Here's where we want to end up. And
Totally.
my lights turned off.
Hey, that's fine.
Hey Google, turn on lights. All right, so here's the deal, guys. I'm actually going to start from the top here. Today we have a really exciting video. We have a special guest or a host. We're not quite sure yet. We're going to work together. It may be a little chaotic, but that's okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a workshop that I want you all to look at the page here, see what we're breaking down. And I have my lovely co-host here. I'm going to go with Paige Turner as your name, even though we don't have an official
Nice.
one. How are you feeling about that?
Paige Turner. I mean, it's perfect for this. Okay, so since we're rolling, here's the easy framing line for viewers. Most people think they need more leads, but really, they need their leads to understand them before that first call. Does that feel right?
It does feel right. The anybody who runs a business, what do they have? They have leads, and they have a whole spectrum of what those leads are quality wise. And we've got we've got folks at the high end, warm, hot leads. Maybe it's a referral. It's kind of the hottest one, right? You direct somebody, friend of a friend, right? And then you've got super cold leads that are coming in from a email or a phone number, and maybe they're just price checking, all that good stuff. So today we're talking a little bit about specifically how to take them from that cold side over to the warm side. Does that make sense?
That makes absolute sense. So if a book is the bridge there, can you say in plain language what that book is doing for you before the call?
So this is where it gets fun. We discussed this at length, and I think it's easy to look at any given book and say, hey, I'm spending some time with these words, learning something, trying to take something away from it. But in the context of individuals running their business and a book being a piece of that, that's really the key part. We obviously want to educate our visitor or reader or the person involved in this conversation. But the aim isn't just to educate, it's to provide an experience and specifically provide positive emotion and feelings to build a connection with them.
Right. Yeah. So not just content dump, but an emotional transfer before the first call. So the book becomes your automated setter. Does that feel like the right phrasing?
Well, if someone knows what a setter is, then yes, it does. But to give a little context to people, the idea here is, we're talking about a sales process where if you're looking kind of behind many different organizations, you'll see there's a couple different steps that people go through to go from a cold lead to a warm lead to a sale. And the setter is the individual. There's usually someone on the other end of a phone call that is spending time discussing together with the person building that they're setting up the next call. And in this context, we're looking at a book to do this process, right?
Right. Yeah. So the book is doing the empathy work, the story work, the here's how I think work. So by the time they get to your call, they're kind of pre-educated about you.
Right, exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself, and that's because we discussed this beforehand. But the fun part here is a lot of people look at creating a book, and maybe we should talk about this for a second. The challenge that comes with creating a book, even in the age of AI, is you might have the knowledge, you might have the information right in front of you, or you may know your process and how you help people on the back of your hand. But the challenge becomes not so much what you know and how much you know, but how you translate that in a way that makes an impact on the reader. That's really the hard part, right?
Yeah. It's not just what you know, it's how it lands emotionally. Maybe we say in the video, in the age of infinite content, the asset is the experience your reader has of you. Would you buy that?
Maybe we should say that in the video, especially since we're recording the video right now.
Yeah. And let's put it cleanly. This workshop helps you pull your philosophy out of your head, shape it, and put it in a book that does the warm up for you.
You know what? I couldn't have said it better myself. That's what we're doing on this page, right? We're inviting folks to a workshop. Maybe we should do that as a nice call to action. What do you think? How about this? I want to hear your call to action. We'll give you a shot at this, and then I'll give my little sign up call to action.
Okay, here's my pass. Join us in the book lead workshop, 6 milestones, flexible pacing, grab calls plus some one on one support, build a book that warms your best leads, then integrate it into your funnel so the right people arrive ready. How's that?
I like it. I like it. Mainly, here's the deal. I'll rephrase it a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and give people a little more context. So we've got a workshop we've put together where we're digging a little bit deeper in these concepts here to show you specific case studies of how people, even today in the age of AI, and especially in the age of AI, are leveraging books to help them take folks who haven't heard them from anybody else and build a real connection with them so that the really hard work of creating that warm lead is done almost automatically. How do you like that one?
Clean and grounded. That feels very viewer friendly. If you want a natural next line to land this plane, try stick around and we'll walk through how it works and who it's for.
I like it. I think I don't want to accuse you of losing the plot because like I didn't give you enough context that we're recording a video here, but here's the fun part. Let's while we have a little bit more time here, how about we talk about
Mm-hmm.
the process that we went through in planning out this special workshop for people, the webinar that they're about to register for.
Yeah, I like that. That's more meta. It lets the audience see the why behind this thing. I'd ask something like, when we first started mapping this, what was the assumption we had to unlearn? And then follow it up with, how did that change the way we designed the milestones? That tees you up to say, writing isn't the bottleneck anymore, transferring understanding is. Then you can walk through how each milestone serves that.
I like that. I like that. And here's something you can't really see because you don't have like a camera hooked up right now. But here's what I've got behind me. I've got a ton of books. I've got all these different folks. I don't want to necessarily drop their names because who knows if they would endorse this or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
almost every single person on this shelf has a nonfiction book that they use to help build a connection with their core reader, and then almost all of them have a next step in the conversation. And
Uh-huh.
the books themselves, they're designed to help people reach a specific place in their business or life or what relationship, whatever. And then there's an opportunity usually to work with those individuals. And different people have different
Right.
types of businesses, right? But the idea
Yeah.
is a certain percentage, maybe it's small, but a very specific percentage is going to want more. They're going to want hands-on connection. They're going to want to hire your services. They're going to want um, the shortcut to success in the conversation, which is usually hiring somebody, right? Um,
Yeah.
Here's a test for you. What's a good example of that? Would you say?
Hmm. I think that's a strong point to make without overnaming anyone. Like, say someone reads a book that reframes how they think about their retirement or their investing. They might realize midway that I actually want this person to guide me, not just the information. And the sale feels like a continuation rather than a pitch. Question: do you feel like that's more true now in the age of AI? That the human perspective is the scarce thing?
It's a little scary that AI is asking me that, but it is. It is going to become almost more of a premium, right? Because folks can go and get custom tailored, high end details on how to do a thing, but oftentimes what folks are looking to actually buy isn't necessarily information, but confidence, right? They're looking to purchase the right to accomplish something. And I've seen that in my own business, right? I've got a book on copywriting I wrote many years ago. And a lot of times what I'm delivering through that book isn't so much the information as like, oh, I can do this too. And I don't run my agency anymore for, obvious reasons. But the fun part always was that people would go through the information often and reach out. And if they ran their own business, a lot of times it's like, hey, I love what you're talking about here. Could you just do it for me?
Yeah. Then that might be the heart of your story there. People don't buy because they lack information. They buy because they trust how you think. So the workshop is where you build that trust machine deliberately. Does that line up with what you want them to walk away with?
I like that trust machine. It's a very valuable approach to delivering a connection with people. So here's what I would love you to do. Give us a little preview of what folks can expect to learn about on this workshop, because we're going to be walking through a lot of things, a lot of case studies, a lot of examples, whether someone has a book already or not. We're going to give you a blueprint for
turning your philosophy into a book that earns trust and plugs directly into the way that you already get clients. And maybe a final question back to you. When someone finishes this workshop, what's changed for them? Is it a finished book, a better sales process, or both?
Well, at the end of this, my hope is really pretty simple. Folks may not have a book complete. In fact, I think a lot of people start books, or they even maybe even get to the point it's finished, but they don't fully integrate it with their business. So let's assume for a minute that the people attending this, they're people watching this hopefully are at the point where they understand these basic ideas, that the value that you bring to the table isn't just your information, it's how you interact with people, but the mechanisms of how you integrate that is what we're going to deliver. So you'll be able to walk away from this workshop with that information. So I want you to look below. You'll find more details, how to register, all that good stuff. But we'll leave you with that, and excited to see you on the live webinar.
That was a great landing. Clean, confident, human. I'd cut right there.
You'd cut right there. That's good. Maybe we go one more second. Maybe you can tell me a good joke in context of this conversation.
Okay, picture this quick exchange at the end. Any final thoughts? And I go, just one. If an AI is telling you to write a book because people want more of you, that's probably the strongest testimonial for human perspective I can give.
That's terrifying, but I love it. Thank you so much for helping me out with the video here, and we will see you all on the live webinar.
Nailed it.